Christian Walk, Christian Talk with your hosts, Tony Briscoe and Gary Dotson. We discuss faith, marriage, family, parenting, politics, and mental health, world news, and most of all, faith again. Let's go. Welcome to Message Monday. What's up, beautiful people? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? It's your boy, Tony Briscoe. Y'all know what night it is. It's Message Monday. Christian men, Christian walk, Christian talk, where the sisters are always welcome. Man, happy Monday to everybody. It's been a busy day. I am honestly exhausted. I've got an early morning, so I won't be on too long tonight. Don't I always say that sometimes? But hey, great to have you all here. I appreciate you all checking us out and tuning in. I'll be riding solo tonight, so if somebody want to jump on the show with me, just shoot me a DM on Facebook, and I'll try to get you on up in here so you can hang out with us for a little while. Do want to talk about a few things today, but you know we always start off in prayer before we get into the show with some updates and keep it moving. So, Father Jah, we thank you for your goodness and your love. We forgot to pause today. We pause now just to say thank you for your grace that shines over us through your Son, Yeshua, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Bless those under the sound of my voice who will hear this now, who are hearing this now, and may hear it later. May you grant them comfort as we move into this season of holidays for those who celebrate, specifically Thanksgiving and the Christmas holidays that are coming up, even for those other religious holidays that are coming up, Lord, that you will be with those who are mourning the loss of their loved ones. But for my Christian family, I pray that God will give you the strength that you need to continue to push on and endure. In Yeshua's name, amen. What's good, people? What's happening? Type in some comments or something. Let me see y'all out there. Share the feed, share the link. Veterans, we coming off Veterans Day weekend, so had a wonderful time. The Ezra Foundation packed out the Hyatt at the McCormick. Shout out to Brother Tyrone Studemeyer, the Hyatt, for sponsoring that event. A great tribute to veterans. So we had two veterans in the house. One was 100 years old, and the other one was 104 years old. And so always got to give love and show love to the veterans out there. My man, Eddie Phillips, Navy man like me, except he's retired. So thank God for my brother. It's been a blessing having him in my life and having him and his wife grace the show on occasion when they are able to jump on. So, man, can I share a poem with y'all tonight? I want to share a poem with y'all. Debating which one. I did post one on Facebook. It was an ode to Vietnam, really. It's the toils of war, but definitely wanted to make mention of that. I do want to share a poem with you all tonight. If y'all cool with that, definitely will be doing that and would love to do that right now. May share another one before I get off the show too, but I want to preface this piece with we had a session for Vietnam veterans. This is years ago, and shout out to the sainted Patty Care, who is no longer with us. Air Force veteran, Korean War veteran. Thank God for her and her love and her dedication to the veteran community. This particular piece called Toils of War. We had a session for veterans. Vietnam veterans showed up, and we were talking about, we had a psychologist in from Jesse Hines Veterans Hospital, and he was in just talking about a lot of the Vietnam veterans are either retiring or have retired. So you got both of those groups of people who have retired or are retiring. And I know you've heard of PTSD. Veteran suicide rates, military suicide rates are high. Veteran suicide rates are higher. We've been through several conflicts. In my time, we've had the conflict of Somalia. We had Desert Storm. We had Desert Shield. I think Desert Shield was first, and then it turned to Desert Storm. We've had Kosovo. We've had Somalia, probably where we shouldn't have been for the wrong reasons. We were there more than likely. And then, we've, of course, we've coming off the recent thing with Iraq and Afghanistan, Operation Noble Eagle and Enduring Freedom. So we've come off a lot of conflict in war zones. So anyway, in this veteran session, there was a group of Vietnam veterans at a table. And as the psychologist was talking, he, opened up the room, and, these veterans, men who were in their 60s, sitting at this one particular table, started crying. Now, military folks, we got a lot of pride. And so we already know that when we do see another veteran crying, the impact of that weight, man, it is woo. I don't even know how to explain that. To see another veteran crying, it's tough. And I've been there on my own, working with some other veterans, um, talking to some other veterans. But I wrote this piece because we were talking about Vietnam, and I remembered the words. One of the veterans said, "You don't know what we were forced to do, the things we were forced to do in Vietnam. It's enough to drive a man crazy." And I'm paraphrasing him. And those four men got up, walked out, and they did not come back. And veterans have a connection, a brotherhood and a sisterhood that's really hard to explain. No one can explain it like them. So I wrote this piece called Toils of War that I want to share with you tonight. My body came back whole, but my mind came back cold. Like the steel in my hands, massaging triggers at unseen enemies moving through Viet Cong jungles, tripwires under my feet, ringing, ears flat on my back, unable to move. America, this is not your war, but I am here. And I want to go back home to my family, at home, high school over, college bound, mom crying, letter in hand. You've been drafted, dreams shattered. Fear gripping my throat, wondering if I'll see her again. These trees move fast, impossible to chase these ghosts that dance with angels after blowing themselves up. But my fallen brothers dance, lying in paths of blood, lining the Ho Chi Minh Trail. It took the death of a unit to find out that the only color we had in common was red. With vengeance and anger and rage and pain, we swooped down like silent hornets on a village of women washing clothes and kids playing. They never knew what hit them, and we never knew what possessed us. Deafened by the screams of a foreign language, no doubt from the violent rupturing of her vagina, or maybe from watching her child's neck being snapped like a twig. The aroma of death is merciless, and I reek. Vengeance is not a dish best served cold, but one left to the gods. Smoke burns for hours, and we all stand there unfazed because Satan has made us callous. No more screams. The trees have stopped moving. We stare at 37 bodies whose death did not bring our brothers back, realizing that they bleed like we do. 64 years old, I stare at this wall of history and all the lives lost, but it's missing 37 names whose voices haunt me daily, whose faces cry me to sleep. And they too were red. In peace. War has no victors except the grave. So to the veterans out there, Petty Officer Second Class Personnelman Briscoe, salute you. I thank you for your service. And America thanks you for your service. Although I don't really know if America thanks you for your service. The homeless community. The homeless amongst veterans is still high. When I look at what we're doing now for migrants who are here, when I look at what we're doing for other countries that are war torn, and I look at home, when I look at our streets, our country, our homeless, especially San Francisco, the drug problem that has leveled South Dakota with meth, the Philadelphia, certain sections, Baltimore, places that seem to be deserts. We can find some of those areas in Chicago as well. Um, I know the former president said America first, but we all know that his America first is not our America first. But I think there's a lot more that we could be doing. And so, salute to our veterans who are out there protecting us. I pray you get the help and support that you need from the VA. Lots of changes going on there continually. But hey, didn't want to get too somber, but I'm a veteran myself, served after 9/11 for 20 months on active duty out at Naval Station Great Lakes on the security force. And so definitely wanted to make mention of Veterans Day and the Ezra Foundation for their contributions of honoring veterans for a nice celebration that we had on Saturday. So grateful for that. Did want to get into a few topics of conversation tonight. So I don't want to say the hip hop world is in an uproar right now because that would just be like, it's really not. But there's a rapper named D1. He made some comments about some other rappers and about how they really should consider their music at their age, 40, 50 years old, still glorifying gang violence, drugs, money, pieces like that. So D1 called out, and again, not sure why he picked these three specifically, but he called out Rick Ross, he called out Jim Jones, and I think it was somebody else in that mix. And his message to them is not disrespectful. What he's asking for these older rappers is a change in the music that they put out. Like to be 40 or 50 years old, when you've made millions. I mean, these guys are multimillionaires as far as I know. Rick Ross, we already know. Rick Ross got his chicken franchise, Wingstop. Rick Ross does very well for himself. Um, Jim Jones, another person who's been pretty affluent in the hip hop era. These guys have a different platform, but at their age, apparently their music is still laced with violence, drugs, money, and this rapper D1, who I met at the LL Cool J concert. So LL is probably one of the safest MCs you can go and see. He's got a couple of hard songs in his repertoire, but that's not really what you go to a LL Cool J concert for, right? So I think we're clear about that. So I'm not sure again why D1 singled out these individuals, but his message is true. What I want to talk about is the response from Jim Jones, who said, allegedly said, I'm not going to say he said anything because I didn't hear him. I haven't watched any other interviews. I didn't even watch D1's interview because I know kind of what's going to come of it, right? Both were on Shea 45, but it looks like D1 was threatened with violence from Jim Jones. And I think that's the essence and problem of what he's talking about. Like we're talking about cats who were a dude in his 50s. I think Jim Jones is 50 or in his 40s, whatever the case may be. Like your response to somebody challenging you on your lyrical content is violence. So then when you have older rappers who are talking about how they can't understand drill music, how they can't understand mumble rap, but in essence, drill music is exactly these comments from Jim Jones allegedly talking about assaulting someone, right? And so I'm not going to sit here and say that D1 is wrong. D1, I'm not sure I think D1 is a Christian. I have to verify that. I should have did a little bit more digging on him. But I met D1 at the hip hop concert. I saw him. And I said, "Hey, man, I love what you're doing," because I've been on his Instagram feed. I watch him. I watch his Instagram feed. He puts out positive music. He's got a positive vibe, and he talks about things that he used to glorify and how he has shifted at a young age. He's a very intelligent young man. He teaches at a university. He's a professor at a university. He teaches. He has a class, and so I think he's right. There should be a different level of the game. So people criticize Jay-Z's 444 album. Oh, it just wasn't classic Jay-Z. So Jay-Z kind of laid out a blueprint for, hey, how we can better take care of our communities. Now, granted, not many people can do what Jay-Z did. Not many people can start off allegedly in the drug game, take all that money from the drug game and put that into a music career and be successful and make it to billionaire status where he is right now, with him and his wife, Beyonce Knowles Carter, right? So not everybody can do that, but it is to say you saw a shift and a transition in Jay-Z from this lyrical genius, in my opinion, to a guy who's matured in life. He's gone through some things with his wife. He talks about that. You know, they had lemon and they made lemonade together, made millions off of their alleged problems in their marriage. And so pieces like that. But D1, hey, brother, I got you back. It's the reason, I put out positive music, one, for my mental health and my sanity, right? That's whether one person hears it or 50 people hear it or 50,000 people hear it. I don't think I've ever hit 5,000, but that's okay. That's beside the point, right? So we have an obligation to talk about darkness as Christians. And this is what he's chosen to do. Talk about darkness. Him and Lecrae, another Christian artist. Him and Lecrae have shared some words back and forth. I think the thing is when you go on social media to share your beef with people or to share your issues with people, I think that's where the problem may come in. But if you don't have a connection to these people and you can't reach them, you already know that social media, what's up, Mike? Social media, and you want to jump in, man, let me know. I'll shoot you a link. Social media is that tool that people are going to really go to get a message to you. And so you've got Christian rapper D1, and now you've got Rick Ross, you've got Jim Jones, and whoever else out there. But I just think that grown men at a place of threatening each other, how is that an example for the youth? How is that an example for the generation? So when you've got an older generation of rappers criticizing younger rappers for the content and all this other stuff and saying they're not creative, what does it matter if they're creative or not? If you are still turning around at 50 years old talking about slapping somebody? Come on. Is that what we on, black men? Black men. Is that what we are on? So somebody calls you out about your music and you got a problem with it. You shouldn't have a problem with it. You should think about the things that you're now putting out. Notorious B.I.G., probably one of the, I'll just say it, I don't know if Mike gonna agree with me or not. I think one of the best storytellers that was out there in the hip hop game. It was like, hey, Biggie, man, why you don't rap like you used to? He said, because I'm not broke anymore. Now you got videos out now saying that Biggie still was broke, but whatever. He's like, I'm not broke anymore. So I don't talk about broke stuff. I talk about different things. So there has to be some level of maturation when it comes to hip hop. And when it comes to being an artist, you should grow. You should develop. Hopefully you're not this old anymore talking about violence and gun violence. And you 50, 45 years in the 30 years in the rap game, you 45 years old now, and you pretty much have nothing else to talk about. Is that really the way you want to go or you want to be? I don't know. Maybe it is. That's up to you. I can't tell you what to do. I just know for me and my house, we're on something different. And speaking of being on something different, this was my problem with North Carolina A&T homecoming. Out of all the artists to bring, now HBCUs are supposed to come with a different caliber, right? We talk about, send your kids to HBCUs, send your kids to HBCUs. Cool. They're there. Now, I know Lil Durk from Chicago. Lil Durk actually has a program here. He's shifting his life around, I believe. He's got a program here, he's got a mentoring program. He's doing his charity, his foundation is doing some great work here in Chicago. But let's not sit here and pretend the backlash that comes with drill music and the culture that Lil Durk was a part of. Now, first of all, I ain't know Lil Durk had been rapping as long as he been rapping. OMG. Like, I saw some 15. I was like, man, this kid been rapping this long. So it kind of explains his talent. But on the same note, we gotta be bigger than Scarface. We gotta be bigger than Frank White. We gotta be bigger than Coleon. Like, I know our communities are violent and we can see it. Chicago has been on fire. I mean, people shooting up houses. We've had a 6-year-old shot. We've had a, I think, 11-year-old shot. Like, we've just had some crazy stuff going on the past few weeks in Chicago, but there still has to be a better way of communication when it comes to our music and hip hop. So I wanted to share that as well. So D1, if you haven't heard D1, like, look the young brother up. I mean, he's making moves and he's on something positive. And I think, KRS-One did a song years ago. So you want to be a conscious rapper? Can you handle the press and the negative chatter? While they pockets getting fatter and your pockets getting thinner. KRS-One already laid it out. Like, if you want to be a positive rapper, don't expect any of the accolades. Don't expect any of that fan base. And I think it's only one dude who really pulls it off well. And I mean, who is a multi-millionaire. He's a multi-platinum selling artist. And that's a rapper by the name of NF. Now, they put NF in the Christian category. NF is a Christian, but, if I got to weigh his music as being a Christian between him and Lecrae, I'm probably going to choose Lecrae. I've never heard NF say Jesus in his music, but NF deals with a lot of mental health stuff. But NF, one of my favorite rappers. I'll say it hands down. NF is one of my favorite rappers. This guy has been able to tap into mental health of young people, in particular, mental health of young white kids. They cling to this dude because he does not shy away from dealing with his own mental health issues. And I think that's highly important. Next week, we're going to have on Dr. Charles Brown, who's going to give us some tips for preparing for this holiday season, going into the holiday season with grief, especially for those who have recently lost loved ones. But NF has found a way not just to tap into the market, he's found a way to reach young white people. He's found a way to reach young white teenagers, young white adults, and deal with the mental health issues. And I think that's powerful. And so when I look at all these artists out here who are selling out crowds all over the world and all over the country, I think about the work that NF is doing. And he only drops an album, I think, every other year. He takes his time marketing his content. And he's just found a way to really reach hearts. What's going on, brother Eddie? That's NF. So if you don't know who NF is, look up Nate. NF, the letter N, the letter F. Nancy Foxtrot. Look him up, and your music, you may not vibe with him. I'm going to be honest. You may not. I vibe with him not just because I'm an MC. My daughter likes NF because he's found a way again. If you listen to him, this brother will tap into your heart. I'm telling you. And I think that's the thing. And so, and I don't care if you don't like him because, he's white. I've called out black people for being racist towards Eminem. I'll continue to do that, But on a side note, NF, look this kid up. I'm not sure how old he is. He's been around for a while, but again, he's found a way to do something that I have not seen black hip hop artists do outside of J. Cole, outside of Kendrick. But this kid, and he's not a kid, he's a grown man. But this guy, I think he's going to do better and he's going to do well in everything that he does because he's got a heart to reach people. He doesn't have a heart for money. He doesn't have a heart for videos, and you won't see women in skin clad clothing. He's not around, using these racial slurs or all this other stuff. This dude has found a way to produce positive music and make a great living and a whole lot of money from doing it. Let him throw a concert here. I bet you it sells out, and I'll be one of the ones buying a ticket. So, did want to make mention of that as well in the hip hop game. Lots that can be learned from some of the artists out here who are lifting up the community and doing things well. So, did want to make mention of that. The last piece I want to talk about today, and I lost my connection. Here we go. Last piece I want to talk about today, I got to talk about marriage. I got to talk about marriage. And this is what I really wanted to hit on. When it comes to relationships, everybody's got something to say about how other people and what they should be doing in their marriage. There's a guy out there, and I'll listen to him because I like him. I don't think I just think he's got his opinions of things. His name is Yada. Here's what he said. And let me preface this. When we're talking about relationships, we're talking about finances in the house. And some of this is talking about what people deem or like to deem manhood is, what a man can, what a man can't or shouldn't do. So I want to read this. I'm quoting. 50-50 is for roommates, not relationships. It's impossible for a man to go 50-50 with a woman, and anybody that tells you otherwise is your enemy. Listen to the choice words. The natural role of a man is to protect and to provide, and the natural role of a woman is to nurture. A man that is unable to provide 100% for his family, robs his children and himself of a nurturing woman and cripples his family structure. We cannot expect our women to work 7 to 12 hours a day because we are unable to fully play our positions as a provider and expect them to still have energy to cook, listen to what's on our minds, clean, nurture the children, and have sex with us. How can we as men scream 50-50 when it comes to paying bills, but expect the woman to do 100% when it comes to home, listening, and what's on our minds and the nurturing of our children? That means we want our women to do 150% while we struggle with our 50%. Brothers, listen to me. They fear a strong family structure. Love is law and family is business. Minister Yadan Yada. So I listened to that. And first, let me say this. I am in 100% agreement. There's no way. There's no way as a husband, if my wife was working, that I would come home and expect her to do everything that's required. I think it's impossible. I don't think it's possible. I would not have that expectation. I think the key here is being able to provide. First, my man Eddie says, protect and provide. Tina, I sent you a link to the show, Tina, if you were able to jump in. No worries if you're not, but I think you'd be good for this conversation to have the other side on here representing. Eddie says, protect and provide. That is key. The Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his family. He leaves value for his family. 100%. Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with it. I also agree with Sister Tina when she says, meanwhile, we constantly make it work, and we do make it work. My sensitivity comes in when men Work to make other men feel or look bad because the woman in the house is also working. And saying that, hey, you can't provide, you can't take care of the whole household without your wife's income. You're not a real man. That's crazy to me. Hey, what's up, Mike? I'm talking about marriage and relationships right now. So I just went through my regular run of show that I do. I like to cover news. Went straight in for veterans today. But I think that's the problem that I have is when we start labeling what a man is or isn't based on their income, based on what they can or cannot do. So, for instance, I know a guy who was a cab driver, probably making 35, 40 a year. His wife was making about 160, 170 a year. Does that make him less of a man? He's just in a different position, right? He's in a different position in life than she is, for whatever the reasons may be. Because you got to also remember that when you consider and make a statement that a man is not a man because he doesn't make enough money and his wife has to go work, what are you saying about that woman? Then what is she? So if he's half a man because he can only bring half of financials to the table, then what is the woman for putting herself in that position? Is she still a woman, or is she now less than a woman as well? See, those are the things I'm sensitive to. Those are the things that irk me, because everybody's trying to tell men how to be men. These are people who are wealthy, who are affluent, and I'm not knocking any man. Bro, if you found the keys to the kingdom and you were able to set up those investments, get in early on Google, get in early on Microsoft, get in early on Bitcoin, if you were able to build that up for your family, bro, I'm happy for you. You winning on a whole new level financially. You're able to build the life for your family. You're able to leave the inheritance that Eddie was just talking about. But don't say other men are not men because their wives work. Don't say other men are not men because they don't make as much. Part of the thing you have to deal with when you're talking to men is how many of us came up with guidance. Yeah, that's the invite. That's the StreamYard link, Mike. How many of us came up with guidance on how to build a proper family structure? How many of us came up with guidance on how to take investments, how to invest, or any of these other things that men are charged to do in order to be considered men? I think those are the things we need to get into and analyze, right? Now, my guy, Lionel Harris, he talks about these things all the time. He just says, if you are older and you didn't get this game, then you got to get a coach and he'll help walk you through that long-term process. He said, but it's going to be work because you're older, and I get it. That's the work I'm putting in now. My sensitivity and my issue comes when we talk about who's a man and who isn't. Eddie says, in fact, most women, especially Black women, are statistically more educated and get higher paid jobs. However, affluent she is doesn't take away the value you give to her as a man. Absolutely. Now, my wife would tell you, man, I was crazy. I ain't consider no woman out of my reach. I ain't care if she had a doctorate degree, was a surgeon, neurosurgeon, brain surgeon, secretary, lawyer. I ain't care. I was gonna holler. Period. But you get my man Mike Wiley up in here.
What's going on, man?
It says your guest Mike Wiley is on an Android Chrome, which has a bug that causes echo.
Am I really?
Fix it. That's what it says.
Oh wow. Am I echoing? I'm sorry.
Hey, you all good, bro.
Oh, okay. Why they gotta call me out though? They must be Apple biased. I'm just saying. What's really going on?
Like Tone, you got an Android Chrome user on, so people are gonna hear you duplicate it.
Right. It's like, oh, this guy has an Android. Be careful.
Eddie says we only teach what we learn. That is why mentorship and support should never be denied or rebuked. Amen to that. So Mike, the core of the show tonight, I wanted to talk about relationship advice. People who were in our ears, specifically people who were there are men out there. And again, I like Brother Yadon. I like him. That brother talk about healthy eating and some other stuff he talks about. It's this thing that, first of all, I don't know any man who comes to the table with a woman and says 50-50. It's not even part of our language or conversation.
It's just the current state of relationships nowadays, man. It's like if you're on social media, and which I unfortunately am because I'm always on and I'm on different forums and then I'm always looking for different things to talk about and bring to our audience. It almost seems as if it is a battle of the sexes to a degree, right? Because you have the podcasts that are very male centric and they talk about, well, what do women bring to the table? And then, of course, you have the shows with the ladies is asking what are the men bringing to the table. And then, of course, you have those in between shows where the dudes are pandering to the women. And then you have the shows where the women are pandering to the men. And it's almost like, who do you even listen to? Right. And to be honest with you, there really isn't a definitive answer. I have learned over the course, and I would be married for 25 years next year in February.
Beautiful.
And I have learned over the course of my marriage that my marriage is just that. It's mine. There are some similarities to other marriages, but my marriage has its own DNA. It's just like me and you. There are some things that are similar between us. We have hands, we have eyes, we have nose, feet, fingers. You have hair, I don't, but I'm just saying, there are some similarities, right? But that's really where the similarities stop. Yeah. We both have our own DNA, our own makeup, and what makes us as individuals. Everybody's relationship is different. And what may work for me may not work for you.
Yeah.
And vice versa. If your household runs and you and your wife is good, your kids is good, bills is paid, on you guys working 50-50, God bless you.
Bro, God bless you.
And if you're that guy that says, no, I'm gonna pay everything, she don't have to work, as long as she take care of the home, God bless you too. Because I'm not here to tell you how you should run your household. One of the biggest issues that we have when it comes to relationship goals is outside interference.
A whole lot of Tyrese.
It's a whole.
I know you heard about it.
Listen, I joke. I'll be joking about Tyrese, man. I'll be crying like, what do you want from me? But I sympathize. I empathize with them, I should say. But everybody's is different, man. And when what I hate is when you have people that try to tell you what your relationship should be.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, first of all, mind yours, number one, and then make sure that yours is good before you try to tell me how to make sure mine is good. I have a big problem when your man ain't coming home when he's supposed to, but you trying to tell my wife how she should treat me and talk to me. I have an issue with that. I have an issue when brothers sleep around and constantly and ain't even got nobody solid in their life, but you trying to tell your guy who's married or who's in a solid relationship how his relationship should go. How you gonna do that? That's like me giving you weight loss advice. You ain't listening to me on that. We're not listening to MC Hammer on financial on how to financially be stable. He went bankrupt because he ain't know how to manage his money. You know what I mean? So it's like we really have to kind of think about that thing, and we really have to get to a point where we just live and let live.
Live and let live.
Why is it so important? Why is it so important for me to try to dictate how your life should run, how your house should run? I don't care. Dude, are you happy? That's my concern. Are you happy?
Period. Without putting a weight or a rating on it and letting outside influence take over. When I listen to the post they put up when they were like, Tyrese's ex-wife said she had other people in her ear.
Yeah.
Which led to
Stop the cap with that one, man.
Stop.
That's so stupid to me, because here's the thing. I don't care how many people are in your ear. The choice is ultimately yours. And if you wanted to work it out with your husband, let them Negroes talk and work your thing out. You know what I mean? And then we on the outside, we need to check ourselves too. Because if you know somebody, let me tell you something. When my guys were in relationships and this stuff wasn't going right, Tony, the one thing I never did was tell them to leave or stay. I never did that. That was not my place to tell you what you should do. The only thing I ever said is, man, you have to do what's best for you, and you have to make that decision. But I never ever said you should leave them, dog. You should leave him. You should leave her. Never did it, because I never wanted that to come back on me later on down the line if they would have left him and then they realized I shouldn't have left. Mike, I listened to you. No, you didn't.
Or they get back together and it's like, hey man, he told me you said such and such, or she told me you said, like, I don't want none of that.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want none of that smoke, man. So I just,
a young lady, man, we had dated, and when he introduced us, he said, I want both of y'all to get one thing clear. What y'all do is y'all business. I want no parts of it.
None.
About y'all problems at all.
None. I don't want none of y'all problems. I'll be there for you.
Yeah.
You know, you my guy, and and look, we can chop it up. You can vent, do all of that stuff. But I am never going to tell you what you need to do in your relationship, how you should handle your relationship, how you should handle your girl. I'm not doing it. I'm just not going to do it, because you know why? I don't want you trying to tell me how I should handle mine.
Mike, we got some trouble coming on, bro. We got some problems in a minute, man.
We got some problems. Oh,
hi, guys.
Hey, Sister Phillips, what's going on?
I was like, yeah, let me jump on.
Hold on, does she have an Android? Does she got an Android? I'm just trying to see.
I didn't get that warning sign with her.
That's messed up. They actually told you I had an Android. That's crazy.
What's up, Miss Phillips? Tina, can you hear us?
Thank you. You're plugging in for me.
Oh, she's getting the headphones together.
Yeah, she getting the headphones right.
I'll bring you back in a minute, Tina.
Oh, Jesus. All right, there it is.
Okay. That's all right. We live. We're gonna put that on the blooper reel.
There you go.
All right. Yeah, my thing is, people don't consider the source. They sit there listening to some of everybody. That's why I just can't stand bandwagon nincompoops. I'll put it that way.
I ain't heard that word in a while. You old school for real.
I ain't heard that word in a minute. Nincompoop. That's a good one.
That's a good N N-word. We're gonna replace it with
Yes.
the N-word. I'm just saying that's why I use
Oh
it.
PG,
no.
fam, PG.
No.
I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. And then it's like people act like they don't know. You know,
Right.
you just following other folks. You swaying with the wind. That's why you can't keep a person.
Mm.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm telling you that those outside, people say, oh, folks break up because of money and break up because of lack of communication. People break up because they be listening to people.
And
They
folks that they
listen.
listening to, it's like, you do you have a degree for this? Do you have any kind of education for this? Do you have any kind of trainer for this? Let me look at your life.
Right. That's what you need to look. Let me look at your body count because that might be the issue.
Mm. Oh, hold up, hold up. She came online when I was going to play Call of Duty. I forget. Wait.
Oh no, she came up. She
Hey,
messed up the Call of Duty
I'm just gonna
playtime.
say that
Now
man
that
loves
that
you.
that
That's
Call
all
of
I'm gonna
Duty
say.
3 is off the chain. I just want to say it. I'm just saying. I was on that. I didn't even see your message. I got offline. I went undressed, got on the game, and I was like, "Booyah! I'm about to play." And then I heard Eddie. I was watching your show from Eddie as I'm playing because you get to do that. So I'm multitasking. That's what we call it. And then I was like, "Let me comment." Y'all hitting the nerve. And then you was like, "Oh, I sent you a invite." I'm like, "Oh Lord, I showed it." See.
Oh, it's all good. No, hey, Call of Duty. Yeah, I ain't mad at you.
They ain't mad at you either.
I've been
But
stressed. I've
that's
been
what I wanted to
stressed.
talk
I'm just
about.
saying.
I see so much. Mike, I'm gonna mute you real quick, Mike, just so I can.
Hmm. Oh, I'm sorry.
You good? It's I hear so much talk, and again, like we're all on social media, so we don't really have a choice. But we look at things, we see things, we talk about things on our show that we find, like Mike just said. But for the most part, I think there is such an attack against black men, and I'm sensitive to it. And this is from a guy. My wife has stayed home for 19 years. All praise be to Jah for his provisions.
Wow.
So if my wife stays home and I'm sensitive to these comments about men whose wives have to work, means you're not a real man or you're not a whole man because your wife has to work, then stuff like that just really, really irks me because I think black men in particular, we've been told what we can and cannot do all the time. We go for a corporate job, we not good enough. We go for a manager role, we not good enough, or we don't have this degree, or we don't have this amount of experience. Like we are consistently bombarded. The United States military changed their whole game, even for making chief or making E7 in the military. They started putting these degree requirements in and all this stuff. It's like every time we get a step, they move the goalpost 45 feet back. And so it's like we still competing just to be. And I think it's counterproductive when we have other men, like from a woman's lens who's talking negative about men. I just push all them. I push all them cats to the side. Like you out there twerking the Cardi B. It ain't nothing you can tell me about being a man. I'm sorry. You can keep
Well,
all
this
that
is the
trash to
thing. If
yourself.
if if you and your wife have an understanding, then that's between y'all. So like it's like somebody saying, well, because you feel like you need a tag team in order to please your wife, if that's what y'all agree on, then that's what y'all agree on. It's like, why are we looking at the dynamics in everybody's house? In my personal observation, I notice how science, they're always trying to take these studies and explore what's happening, for example, in the black family. The black man has such a high demand. They're supposed to be at their job and be there on time, and us a lot of women, it's like they don't even hire women if they have ovaries now because, oh, you're going to be dedicated to your family instead of to your job, which is why they mostly focus on hiring men. But the black man in particular, because no matter the fact that he's not getting paid the way he should, like any other culture, they still gonna work him like both an American slave and a Hebrew slave. And guess what he gonna do? He gonna turn up. He gonna turn up at that job in both positions, and then he's gonna turn up at home with his wife because guess what? He gotta have some stress relief, if you know what I'm saying. And then turn around, he gotta take care of them kids because the kids gotta see them too. But you got to stop looking at, as the black man. You have to stop looking at it from the perspective of they judging you. No, they trying to see if they can be you. They trying to see if they could be like, "Ooh, he did it. Let me see if I could do it." My current mom's husband, I don't like to call him stepfather because I grew up with him, but um he worked 3 jobs. I watched this man work 3 jobs, had a wife and 8 kids, and still turned up at the church. This man was doing some stuff. Now they need to study him, but he didn't look at it as, oh, this is tearing me down. This is tearing me down. Why? He focused on the goal. You can't keep on worrying about what everybody else is saying, because I guarantee you he wasn't. He old school. He real old school, back when they didn't require you to go to high school and graduate. He that old school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was one young lady I was listening to. I'll let you jump in there, Mike. One young
Hmm.
lady I was listening to, her dad got paralyzed from the neck down. 5 kids. However, dad worked it out. This cat was able to run home business, taking care of that whole household. And so her comment was, I ain't saying you got to have it all. I'm just letting you know my dad took care of 5 kids and a wife from a wheelchair. So when you come knocking at this door, you just got to be ready. Because my dad showed me that there's nothing that a black man cannot do, no matter what condition he's in. And that can be subjective as well. Because I don't have an issue with any. If you talking about, if you don't want to date a brother who making less than 100,000 or who making less than 150,000, if that's your choice and that's your requirement, I'm not even knocking you for that. Then put yourself in the caliber or the category where you can get exposed to that. Because I don't like telling people what you can and can't require from what you want. I look at it from a God lens. Right? My attraction was to dark women and big women. My wife is light skinned and thin. My boy was like, "No, you dating a light skinned woman for real?" I was like, "Hey man, I met a dog. It was like, but nah, bro, I didn't know you your whole life, bro. Like, you like them big ones, bro." He was like, "What's you like the dog and the big ones, bro?" I said, "Hey man, this is who the Lord has put in my life. This is who came." So He changes the dynamic of any and everything.
Hmm. But I think
Go ahead, Mike.
my I'm sorry. My issue, like in that particular thing, is when and like with her dad and how he did with with the 3 jobs, and then the other gentleman that you spoke of who was paralyzed, and those guys and how they did it. I don't like when people try to have this one standard as, or they have to try to have this one example as the standard of
Mm-hmm.
how relationships or marriages should be, you know, and why if a man doesn't live up to, or if he's not doing what this particular guy did, he is less of a man than that guy, even though his home is taken care of, his wife is happy, his kids are well taken care of. Those things, same outcome, different method. But for some reason, he is viewed as a lesser man. When I got married, dude, I was a cashier at Montgomery Wards, and my wife worked downtown. She made probably 3 times the amount of money that I made, you know, but we made it work. And I didn't, and I never looked at it like, I mean, well, I did have, I felt a certain way about it because, I just wanted, because that's just how I was raised up. My dad was an old guy from the South. He came from Louisiana when he was 16 years old. So that's all he knew was working. You take care of the house and you work. That's what you do. So, but with that being ingrained in you, of course, you would kind of look at that thing like, oh my God, I'm not upholding my part. But as time goes on, traditions change and things change, and dynamics change. And knowing that now, everybody, like going back to my initial thing, it's like everybody is not going to be, everybody is not a traditionalist nowadays, you know. And it kills me though, because some of these women out here, they want these traditional men, but they don't want to be traditional women. And it's like, how's that gonna work, ma'am? You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, yeah. And you talk about the pressures of the black man and the thing that he has to go through. Just men in general, women nowadays want this Superman. He has to be 6 feet and physically fit. He has to have perfect skin, perfect
True,
hair.
bro.
He has to have a 600 a 6-figure job, a nice car, a multi-room home. If he got all that, ma'am, and you working at the Waffle House, he ain't checking for you. He checking for somebody in his tax bracket. And I don't and but then if we say this is
Yep.
what we're looking for, then all of a sudden it's we are viewed upon as like, we're viewed upon as the worst thing in the world. Like, you can't do that. That's, so it's such a double standard sometimes when it comes to some things, man. And I really feel bad for the young men coming up in this time, because it's like, I can't even imagine what they go through trying to date and trying to find somebody nowadays.
No, I
It's just
can't. I can't either, man. I look at, again, we're on social media. I'm watching the
yep.
podcast, and there's a sister on there. Tina, she said her hair costs 2,000.
Oh,
Pretty
I
sure.
saw that video. Never.
She
Probably
said
the
her
same.
not the application, the hair, not
That-
installing the hair, her nails that she gets done every week, $200 to $350.
no.
And it's like, that's what I said. You got to be realistic. These are not realistic ideas. This don't make any
No.
sense. And it's like, yeah, you would like to put yourself in a situation where you can date a one percenter and maybe even marry them. But
Right.
the realism of it is, them one percenters aren't even let you identify them. That's why they had them shows
Mm.
like, what was that show where they didn't know that they was the boss or the owner of the place?
Oh, whoa,
Undercover
oh my,
boss.
Yeah.
what was it?
Undercover boss. I love undercover.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that show. Yeah, that was a good show.
It's like you'll never know who these people are because they're not going to introduce themselves, and the
Mm-mm.
people that they hire, they're not going to call them out. I work for people who appreciate the decorum and the privacy that, yeah, you work for us and you do a great job and you are advancing us in so many ways, but you don't need to be in the limelight. You don't
Right.
need to say, okay, yeah, I know this one percenter, or I know such and such, and they're a Fortune 500 CEO. No, people need to stop with that because it's not realistic. And the only way
Mhm.
you'll be able to actually put yourself in the way of something like that is you got to be more realistic. You got to
Yep.
dress the part, you got to act the part. It's so many women, they say, well, I don't know how to get a man. I don't know how to get a man. Meanwhile, you look at all them guys around you. I said, well, a lot of times it's because I keep it real. I'm 100 with it. I mean, y'all got to sit over here. Y'all got to do all this extra X, Y, Z. I'm like, God dang, they don't know who you are. When you
Mm-mm.
gonna turn up?
We don't know who you are, because on social media, we don't know what you are, because the stuff that you putting on there, it's like, look, ma'am, if everything you post on Instagram is you shaking your behind, when we meet, don't tell me that you want me to love you for your mind. Because it ain't working.
And I don't know what you look like either.
I don't even know what you look like, to be honest with you. Thank you for turning around. I mean, it's like, I don't. What do you expect?
I'm gonna
He
get you
said,
sucker,
thank you
like
for
you.
turning around.
I'm gonna get you
What do you
sucker.
expect? I'm just.
Popping on
Uh,
eyelashes.
Now let me ask
Makeup
y'all
is
this.
caked up. Go ahead.
Okay, y'all both married already, but
mhm.
let's say, God forbid, your wife's kick you to the curb, and these women, now
I
you
can't even
back on
imagine
the.
that.
I
I
know,
can't even
right?
She
I
imagine
said,
know.
that.
"Kick us to the
Yeah.
curb." It's
Now you back
She
on.
want to kick our lips to the curb.
right.
But now y'all back out here on this street, right? Trying to find somebody to meet and try to
Oh
be
my
with
god.
somebody. Do you really want her to put that razor down? You really want her to put that wax down? You really want her to snatch off that wig? Or do you want all of that anyway?
But you know what though? There are some, and I've seen them. There are some women that are just naturally beautiful that don't require. I'm not look, and I'll be a fool to say I don't like a woman that get a little dolled up, right? You know what I mean? I like a little makeup. I like, you know what I mean? I like a little makeup. Like them to dress a little, depending on what the occasion is. I appreciate all of that stuff. Is it a requirement? No. But now when it's overdone, that's what gets me. It's like, come on. It's like every time you blink, I feel a gust of wind. You don't need lashes that thick. Stop it.
I kiss your cheek and I got lipstick on after that. That's a problem.
You got more foundation on than they laid to build the Sears Tower, and I'm supposed to be like, oh, you just so pretty. No. And every night you chisel it, you have to chisel that stuff off. I mean, sometimes it's just overkill, But I appreciate the effort. I will never
that
say
makeup costs like $200.
I know, and that's why I say I will never not appreciate the effort because I understand what ladies do to look the part. I really do. But sometimes, ladies,
It's too much.
it's a lot.
Too much. I want to read what Eddie
It's
said. Eddie said, let's also understand that this is a really good point.
mhm.
We have black celebrities in highly affluent positions, but limited understanding. You don't see the Rockefellers or the Carnegie families out here partying or flossing. Our examples are corrupt.
Ab-
100.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it was
Yeah, because when your hair is $2,000 and you have
Something wrong.
raggedy
Something is wrong.
undies on, your undies is raggedy than the mud. You can't take them off.
He
Talk
said
about
your undies is raggedy.
And you know what? You know what's messed up about that is that what kid and you know what the bad part about that is that there's going to be some simp dude out there that is going to pay for her to get her hair done and just messing the whole game up for the average dude.
He wants to be loved.
Because I mean, and he ain't even doing it because it's like they dating. He only doing it because he got an end game in mind. And it's just like you messing it up for everybody else, but somebody is going to do it, and that's why she can sit up there and say, "Yeah, it cost me $2,000 to get my hair done," because some goofy is going to cash app her that money and say, "Get your hair done."
And and even if you got it, bro, got it. But if that's a mortgage. That's a mortgage. You got a mortgage on your head.
That's a mortgage and a car note, bro, depending on where you stay.
I gotta agree with Mike. That's a part of like when the Bible says a good woman builds up her house and a bad one tears it down. If a man is pouring into that, then you gotta ask yourself: is he enabling her and tearing down the house? Because
absolutely.
You cannot build off of something like that. You only have a temporary goal in mind, so he has to understand that if that's what she's asking and he's going to give it to her, it's already he knows that it's temporary because he knows he can't, so he's just going to hit it and quit it anyway.
That's the goal. That's the goal, is get in and get out. Leave some money on the dresser, get the plan B, we good to go. I mean, that's the plan. You know what I mean? And some of these females are okay with that. They're okay with it. And this is why I say we live in a world where a lot of women are looking for traditional type men, but they are not traditional women.
Well,
and we're starting. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
So one of the major reasons I'm not okay with it is because I've seen these females have unmatching underwear, but they got a $1,000, $3,000 purse. They shoes is some Jordans and red bottom. The reason why is because the bare necessities. These are bare necessities if you're gonna wear them. If you're gonna wear them, then yeah. But
at least get a matching set, ma'am.
Can you?
At least get a matching set. That's all I'm asking.
This is hilarious.
And it might cost you a little bit because at first that's what the problem was. These women were like, "Man, this man he want me to look all sexy for him, but the underwear that he want me to wear costs a lot of money." I had this argument on Facebook one time. My boy was like, "Yeah, what's up with these females?" I was like, "Do you know how much undies cost? You can't just buy some in a pack and call it a day. This stuff costs some money. Go to
Not for
Victoria's
women.
Secret. Oh yes, it do.
No, I'm just saying, like for guys, we can go to the store and get a 5-pack of underwear. Y'all can't do that.
And then you want to be
break out
mad.
the Hanes or the Fruit of Looms.
Man, let's go. Oh, are those navy blue? Let's go with that.
10 minutes in the store max, and that's
Man.
10 minutes in the store is part of checking out in a long line.
Underwear, t-shirt, socks. Let's run it.
Okay, so if she all dolled up, she got on $2,000 hair, $50,000 makeup because you got to pay individually for each one of the different layers. Now you take all of her clothes, you take her top layer clothes off. Yeah, it's not a pack. Yeah, so you take her top layer clothes off, and you see she got on some underwear that came 12 in a pack. Talking about Hanes, you okay with that?
I'm a simple creature, man.
Say, look, it don't matter because hopefully if things go well, you know what I'm saying?
As long as the granny panties can slide off, we straight.
I mean, it's like, I'm not picky. I'm just saying.
Wow, I just want to say.
Hey, you got the wrong two over here. Too.
Yeah, you probably got the wrong two with that one. It's like, I'm not really picky. I'm a basic dude. I like black,
it's a
white, and brown. I mean, I don't care.
And that's the thing, though. Men, and I've said it before, we are simple creatures. We do not require a lot to exist with you.
We really don't.
And look, have to blame y'all then. Y'all
Eddie, your wife play Call of Duty, bruh.
Wait, you got a good one,
bro.
I'll be trying to get my wife to play Tetris, and she'd be like, "No, that's just a lot." And I'm like,
"Hey, Eddie, I'm hating on you on the Phillips. Y'all winning, bruh."
Man, I'm trying to get matching controllers. That's all I'm trying to do.
I'm just trying to get a PS5 up in the
right.
Back. You know what I'm saying?
Can we get matching controllers, baby? That's all I'm asking. I got Game Pass. Let's go. We good.
Eddie says these affluent families use their money to continue to change American politics and society, but we get caught up on cars, hair, booty, and ignorance. Societal women follow what they see as the way to be, and that's the issue with no longer. And I'm not, I don't want to upset any women by bringing up Cliff Huxtable. I'm separated from Bill Cosby real quick. I mean, it's.
Wait. What happened? What I miss about Cliff Huxtable?
I was going to bring up Cliff Huxtable, but I was like, I don't want to offend any women. The Bill Cosby thing,
I got to learn to separate the art from the artist. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you talked about that last week too. But I'm just saying, like, in some essences, I'm sure they're like, oh, he a lame. It didn't matter. It didn't matter to get his kids. He did the complete opposite. His kids got to move back into the house. Some of us not feeling that at all. We push our kids out. I read an article about, I think it's the New York Giants quarterback who makes like $1.9 million a year, who still lives at home with his mom and dad until he lands a good contract.
Yeah.
So that 1.9 million, you've heard stories from black athletes. Shaq was like, I went out and bought my mom this. I bought 3 cars and did this and
bought
did this.
Bought my dad 5 cars. Did this, did that.
But you know you got to pay taxes, right? He's like, well, if I pay taxes, I'm only gonna have like 30,000 left. Yeah, that's why you shouldn't have went out and bought all that stuff. But like somebody being able to take them under the wing, like Kevin McHale did Kevin Garnett. Hey,
yes,
everybody pick your top 5, and we moving forward.
Yep.
And
Pick
see,
your
that's the
top
same
five
thing
homies
with
and we move.
credit cards. People don't
Yep.
have the education and understanding to say, okay, if you're getting $80,000 from your job, or even $100,000 from your job, now everybody wants to send you a credit card. But unfortunately, you don't understand interest rates. So now you got all these credit cards, and you done spent, let's just say, 10,000 on each one of the cards. You don't understand that your entire income that you don't have yet in your hand has been spent on all them 10 credit cards with $10,000 each. It's over. It's over.
It's over. So, hey fam, it's late. I know I got y'all on late. I appreciate y'all jumping in, but I don't want to hold y'all because we can talk about relationships forever and ever.
Yes.
And ever. But
Yeah,
I
you
do
really
want
do
to
have
say,
to study the person. Yes.
yeah, and
Mhm.
Even
Mike
once
said
you,
it earlier.
even when you with them, you still gotta study them because people will hold on and hold out till you married, and you think that is good. I done seen some people in the military. I know you have, Tony. They'll sit there and they'll hold out until you hit your 10 years. You thinking you got you a ride or die? You thinking you got you somebody nope. She waited for you to hit that 10-year mark, and now she about to get you for everything you got.
Wow.
My first trip to Italy, working at the office, my job was to pull divorce decrees from service records and make duplicate copies.
Mm.
And we talking the 90s, so you know this was a long job. I kid you not. The average military, I went through 780 records in 2 weeks. The average service jacket had 2 divorce decrees in it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The average service jacket had 2 divorce decrees. That's right. My mama on that. She remember. That's a lot.
It is.
That's a lot.
It boils down to people have to be allowed to what works for their relationship and their marriage. It works for their relationship and their marriage. If he's
Absolutely.
working and she's working and they've agreed on it, that's great. I was able to sense a divorce before it happened.
Wow.
A brother came in one night to the men's locker room and he was like, yeah, man, I'm working all day, man. I tell her, when I get home, I need a break. And I was like, yeah, dog, like we all need a break. He was like, yeah, man. He was like, yeah, I need 3 hours. We was like, hey, hold up. Like, whoa. Back up, buddy.
3 hours.
3 hours.
Man, look.
I said, who takes the daughter to school? The wife. Who picks her up? My wife. Who makes dinner when they get home? My wife. And you need a 3-hour break when you get home from work.
Man,
And
look.
she works too. So that's what my man Yadana was saying. Like, hey, we can't expect women to go to work, take care of the kids, be nurturers, and then give us our attention as well. It's not gonna work like that.
Yep.
Yeah. On top of that, I was working and cooking the potlucks for the job because the military y'all be having these big old potlucks. Yeah.
Look, you better do like that, man. He better do like most brothers do when you get off work. When you pull up, you sit out in the car for about 30 minutes and collect yourself before you go in. I'm telling you, Tone, them 30, 45 minutes did a wonder because you know what? You never wanted to take your day home with you. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes those 30 minutes of just kind of being to yourself helps you. So when you come home, you have that where you can now give your attention to your wife, to your kids, or whatever.
What he doing in that car?
Look,
what he doing in that
see,
car?
you gotta be
He
slick
his
with.
phone, and he coming in 30 minutes late. Nah,
See, that's what they do now.
You better get the house, bro.
My wife knew because she'll be like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be in a few." I mean, sometimes we need that because you know what? That prevents you from blowing up when you in the home. It prevents you from lashing out when you don't necessarily need to. Because all of us have stressors during the course of a day. All of us, some more than others. and you get home and you talk about you gonna get home and she been home all day and she needs you to pitch in on some stuff and you tell her that you need a break after you done just got home, she gonna be looking at you like, you need a break from what? Some
Yeah.
30 minutes, some 20 minutes in the car, man. I'm telling you, they work
And
wonders.
even with my wife staying home and homeschool, when I came home, I'm gonna need a good 15 to 20 because I
Tops.
got to give her a break
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
she needed to disconnect. So it just be me and baby girl wrestling or whatever, and
Yep. Helping with home, chipping in with homework.
you know,
Man.
Yeah,
she
because it's
needed her
like you
time.
guys, you get up, you go to work, right? You got a chance to go shower, you got a chance to go to the bathroom throughout your day because you're at work, and you don't have little
Yep.
ankle biters pulling at your leg and crying because you took a second to do a number two when they expected you to just leave the door open and you like you can't.
You know how many times I was in the bathroom and I see fingers under the door? Daddy. I'm like, man, give me 10.
Uh-uh.
Daddy,
Are
what
you
are you
Mama
doing?
don't
are
get,
you still
Mama don't
using
get
the
10.
bathroom?
Right. Are you still in there? Yes, I am.
See, mama don't get that 10 minutes.
She don't
Mama
get
get 5 minutes
that.
tops. And then you come home talking about you want an hour, three
Yeah.
hours, or whatever. See, that's the problem. Now, see, me, myself, I was blessed that I didn't have that problem. Whenever Eddie had did shifts, I would just, wake the kids up so they can see they did and spend a little time with them before he go to sleep. You really have to put God in it, and that's the aspect I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't do, and
Yeah.
that's why a lot of marriages don't work out. Even those that do put God in it, you gotta tell that man, look, you gonna pray because if you don't pray, I can't stay. You want me to stay?
Right.
You gonna have to
You
pray.
don't pray. I can't
You're
stay.
gonna have to
Lord
pray.
have
Because
mercy.
God fills the gaps, and when he
Yeah.
start to pray, he gonna start to understand what I said when he thought I was just running my mouth with my clothes on. You understand?
On
What?
that note, family, it has been great having y'all
They
on
say,
Message
they
Monday.
say if you
Oh.
want when a woman wants a man, listen, you can't be ready. I'm just saying.
I don't know how to respond to that
Yo.
one. I just know if you ain't praying, she ain't staying.
If you ain't praying, she ain't staying. I told my wife, look, if we ever get a divorce, I said I'm good because I ain't got time. At my age, I do not feel like learning somebody else's crazy. I know
Only
you're crazy.
only D word I speak is till death do us part.
Man, look,
If
if it
that
don't
happens,
if,
I'm getting a mail order wife from Russia because all I need is two things. And this is a PC show, so we're not going PG show. I'm not. My mama on here first of all.
he
My mama
said
on
I'm
here.
Thank
there,
you,
there
mama.
order
Thank you,
wife.
mama.
Yeah, you did a great job,
Cause I
mom.
don't know what this two things is, and apparently I don't want to know.
I have a pretty good idea, but
But
you know,
it's. I told Ma, I said I'm gonna find. She was like, "There's nobody like me." I said, "God would not do me like that," because I watched how she served in her house
mm,
while she was working.
Mm.
Now she will also tell you that on occasion I would try to cook, wouldn't turn out well, so she'd have to come home and just dump whatever I was trying to make.
yep,
But for me, it was an effort of appreciating you got, and she had so many folks living in her
yeah,
house, right? Including my brother and I. She had two kids. This woman, when she introduces me to this day, it's always son. It's never foster son.
mm,
This is the woman who said, I went over there hard one day, boy. I went to drop some money off to her one day, and she said, "What you doing?" I was like, "I just came to bring you a little something." And she looked at me and she said, "It feels like you came out of my womb." She broke me, bruh. She broke me right there, man. I was like, "Oh my
yeah, man.
God, I feel so loved." But I saw her labor of love. And I wanted to know, I appreciate it. Thank God she didn't eat that spaghetti because she may not be here today. But she saw my effort. She saw my effort. And I told her, I'm like, you're a good one. And my wife, 100.
Yeah.
My wife's sister, 100. My wife's mom, 100. My wife's female cousins, 100. My wife's aunties, 100. I have watched all of them serve their men, husbands well. And that's a powerful statement because I'm talking about generations, man.
Yeah.
Generations of excellence. Not perfect, but excellence. Fam, I thank y'all for hanging out with us tonight on Message Monday.
Oh man, I appreciate the invite, man. This is good.
Hey, look, first of all, I gotta do your show on Friday, bro, was off the chain.
Listen, we have I meant to tell you, man, we have an official third. She's joining us permanently now.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, that show on Friday was so off the chain, dude.
Yeah, she was good.
Absolutely fabulous, bro.
Yeah.
It was a fabulous
and she
show.
brought up some really good points because you had a clouded perspective of what you read. I get it. You playing it safe and only seeing what's already been put online.
And see, that's the thing. Sometimes I have to play the antagonist, because what I try to do is bring out both sides of the conversation. And if I'm always playing the safe side, ain't nobody gonna really talk. So I normally take the route of, the bad guy, so to speak. And then everybody be like, no, Mike, that's not now. And I'll be like, whatever. And then we bring it all together. And it works out.
Yeah, it works.
That's a method to my madness.
Sweetest thing I've ever known. Still showing up late to her show.
Right.
Hey, fam, it's your boy Tony Briscoe. I am on with two fabulous people. Tell the folks where they can find your podcast, your Facebook pages. Mike, I'm gonna let you go first, and then I'm gonna let I'm sorry. Apologize.
Yeah, let the lady go first. Chivalry
go.
Ain't dead, Tony. We talked about that.
I don't want her praying over me like he did not.
Man, look.
I got some things for him, Lord.
She ain't staying. I'm just saying.
Tina, tell the folks about your show on Monday nights and how they can find you.
Okay, I like to keep it reasonable so I can, actually have some goals actually accomplished. But I appreciate the invite. I'm sorry I did not see it sooner. But I can be found on the Erudition Network doing Tina's Adroit Living with Tina Phillips. Giving some guided perspective from a professional perspective, but I keep it discreet. So I gotta do like Mike. I gotta play, play it down a little bit so people don't say, "Oh, you said what?" No, I can't say it. I can't say it. But I'm on Mondays at 5:00 Central Time, 6:00 Mountain Time. I talk about the whole man. And a lot of times it's a lot of business, and there's some stuff that's coming up that you guys might want to see, and it's all interactive. I love for you guys to come on, and we could do this kind of, fun and games on my show. That'll be some that'll be some fun.
All right, 7:00. Actually, moving our time up. We were doing 7:30s, but we are now going to be moving to 7:00 on Fridays. We live stream. We try to live stream every Friday at 7:00. Me, my brother-in-law, my sister now, who's officially on as a third. We have the Man Up Real Talk podcast. It's barbershop talk, basically, about just current things that's going on in the world. Pop culture, whatever it is that tends to be trending topics, and then even not so many trending topics. And sometimes we just try to bring awareness to just things, stuff that conversations that should be had, but may not be had. And we just try to create that safe space for those conversations. We keep it classy, not a whole, we don't do the the vulgarities, and we don't do no cursing or nothing like that, because I'm a Christian male. And I want to keep it so people can come in and just have a conversation and just relax. We have fun on there. Tony can tell you we go a little left sometimes, but we try to bring it all back in and really just try to have conversation and just to promote and to promote and provoke thought. and to try to give you both sides of the story. Everything ain't just so one-sided all the time. And sometimes just being able to see things from the other person's perspective help us to just understand each other a little bit better. And that's what we just try to do on the show.
Cool.
No
And
vulgarity
yeah,
because you're trying to make it in.
look, that 99 and a half ain't gonna do. I'm just saying. I'm trying to make it in.
Hey, look, check it out, fam. If you all are looking to go to Ghana, you need to get on that website,
Oh,
lionelharris.com/Ghana 2024. October 27th, 2024 is when that trip will start. They take care of all arrangements, all of your hotels where you'll be staying in Ghana, in Cape Coast, at the resort, back in the city of Accra. They take care of all those arrangements. The only meal you pay for, I believe, is your lunch. Breakfast is
wow.
typically covered at the resort or hotel, and dinner's typically covered, especially if you all go out as a group. So, wonderful trip for those who want to go to Ghana. Other than that, fam, appreciate y'all. Next week, I will have on Dr. Charles Brown. Heading into the holidays, he's just going to talk about some tools to help people deal with grief during the holiday season, to help them continue on moving, especially those who are into what I call the year first. What's your first holidays without that loved one? So
Yeah.
keep that in
Pray for
mind.
my family, man. We've had at least 3 deaths over the course of 2 months. And my mom has lost she's lost 2 brothers and a nephew. So and we just got news of another brother passing today. So just keep the Wileys in your prayers, man.
You got it. You got it. Keep the Wileys in
Appreciate
prayer.
y'all.
Until then, may the peace of God that passes all understanding guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Y'all know how we do. Y'all have a blessed week. And your boy, we up out of here.
Welcome
Peace.
to Message Monday. Christian men, Christian walk, Christian talk with your hosts, Tony Briscoe and Gary Dotson. We discuss faith, marriage, family, parenting, politics, and mental health, world news, and most of all, faith again. Let's go. Welcome to Message Monday.